Well, I unboxed those bags from Michelle, and there were quite a few little things in there. And some of my favorites were these Anna Lee dolls for next Christmas. I'm such a lucky girl. My guy's cooking in the kitchen this morning.
Right.
I'm getting treated to breakfast that I didn't have to cook. I like it.
That's right.
So I am in the process of putting away the Valentine's Day stuff, and every year I have to decide Easter or St. Patrick's Day or both. And I guess I'm going with Easter on the table, but some St. Patrick's Day things around the house again. I was super excited to find that I had this brand new Easter colored tablecloth ready and waiting for this year. Don's watching the Tesla Tidbits guy. This is episode 11 on the road, and he's just shaking his head this morning.
Look, the Tesla was very truthful. They said that the June deliveries for S and X orders placed today is because of demand. That statement is 100% true. It's just not the complete statement. The complete statement is delivery for Model S and Model X is now June, because we don't want to screw up the $7,500 tax rebate and trigger the 200,000th car till July 1st. That's the whole statement. They just didn't put that little piece at the end. If they went on and delivered all the S's and X's, plus of course the Model 3s that they see, just as, in other words, as we build them, we send them out to the U.S. and we deliver them, the tax cut's going to trigger next quarter, in the second quarter 18, sometime in a less opportune, and so that's going to cut out a lot of people's access towards the end of the year. But if they wait till July 1st to sell, not produce, to sell their 200,000th car in the U.S., then they will get the rest of the year, all cars sold for the rest of the year in the U.S. will get the full $7,500 tax rebate. So they can build up and stockpile cars and stack them on top of each other if that's what they want to do. They can store them in warehouses and Walmart parking lots and everything. They just can't sell them. So yes, this is going to impact their third quarter revenue, which is what Tesla said, but not as much as you think. Because what they're going to do, they're going to cherry pick those cells, and to the point where that 200,000th cell occurs at 12:01 a.m. on July 1st. That the 199,999th car is sold at 11:59 p.m. What's the last time zone in the U.S.? Hawaii time or something like that. I mean, that's what's going to happen, folks. You don't have to, don't read this any other way. It's not a redesign. It's not a bigger battery pack. Now, am I saying that they couldn't tweak something a little bit? But it may be, but the real reason is only solely because the timing of that tax credit.
Yeah, and Don's also got another thought about the Model Y. He's got lots of thoughts this morning while I'm busy packing up Valentine's and getting out Easter.
Yeah, pretty much. So, you know, if Tesla wants to build 1 million cars in 2021, and to build 1 million cars in 2021, the Fremont plant, people say maybe it can do 600,000 cars, maybe 700. Elon said maybe 700,000 cars. Well, 600,000 cars or 700,000 cars is not 1 million cars. So they've got to have another plant. Plus, of course, they want to build the semi-truck, and they want to build the Roadster. And all of those are going to happen before, quote, 2021. So the way I look at it is they've got to have a plant somewhere. And, of course, everybody says it's going to be in China. I got nothing against the Chinese. But Electrek published an article back in October, and Mariana put a link in there that basically said Tesla had basically inklings or some way that they were going to get around the 51% majority ownership clause that you have to be if you want to manufacture cars for sale in China. 51% of the company has to be owned by a Chinese ownership. Otherwise, if you want to import cars to sell into China, you got to pay a 25% import tariff on those cars. So Tesla thought they could get around that, or maybe thought the Chinese were okay with that and was going to give them an exception. Well, I don't think that's the case. There's been plenty of articles now that, and Elon said it and everything else, if they're going to do this, they've got to have the plant, basically, they need to be breaking ground on the plant. If Tesla had an agreement with the Chinese that was going to get them around this 51% minority ownership, they'd already be announcing that so that they can say we've announced it. There is no detrimental reason for Tesla to hold off announcing where this gigafactory is going to be in China, if it was going to be in China. I think China's off the table now. Chinese want to own the electric battery manufacturing. They want to own the electric vehicles. The Chinese know the electrifying transportation is the future. So they don't want to facilitate Tesla at all. If Tesla wants to be duped, they need to keep negotiating with the Chinese, and the Chinese will just string them out. And they have no incentive to make this happen quickly. So I believe that Tesla is going to announce the Gigafactory in South Korea. And it's even better than that. GM is basically send out feelers and inklers that they're closing their plants in South Korea. So it's very possible we're going to see another NUMMI deal where Tesla goes in behind GM and buys their plants and makes better cars and more cars than GM ever thought they were going to do. It's going to happen. They're going to South Korea, folks. You heard it here first.
Well, I'm not done, but I've made really good progress out here on the kitchen table and in here with my Easter village. Both on the fireplace hearth and up here on top of the curio cabinet. I'm going to take a break and go to town, and I'm going to let Don get his nap in some peace and quiet without me rummaging underfoot. It's ended up being a really pretty day out there, and I'm headed to town to run a few errands. And there's the weekly school message coming in on the car. Their prompt. This is how careful I have to be when I back out. Hi guys. So a brief tip about something called Google Voice. For a while I had a landline at my old house and a cell phone number that I got when I acquired my first cell phone. I think that happens to a lot of people. And of course, when Don and I moved in together, I moved into his house. He already had a landline, and I really didn't need my landline anymore, but some people had had that number for over 15 years, and I really didn't want to just get rid of it. So my options were, well, go just port it to another cell phone, but then I'd be paying for that cell phone, or port it to Google Voice. So what happens now is if somebody calls the old house landline number, it goes through Google Voice and it rolls into the cell phone that I'm carrying around with me, which of course has my cell phone number. So my point is that if you're thinking about getting rid of your landline, but you really don't want to lose that number, there is a way to have that number, but not have it actually physically attached permanently to a dedicated landline or cell phone. You can just port it to Google Voice and then forward Google Voice to whatever number you want, another landline or another cell, and you're good to go. And that's, God, it's a one-time fee to port it, I think, and there's no monthly charge. I don't think it's really cheap. So if you're thinking about getting rid of a landline, you should look into Google Voice. Yeah, the weekly principles message is nice and consistent, and it comes in between 3 and 4 p.m. every Sunday, and I get 4 text messages and 2 phone calls. And thanks to Google Voice, it's translating the voice message to a text. So I don't have to pick it up and listen to the automated message. I can just read the text on my phone when it's convenient. So that's another nice thing about Google Voice is for those automated type things, it just comes in as a text message. It's 56 degrees, not a cloud in the sky. Still a little windy though. Generally nice and pleasant out here. I'm going to head into Guardian Angel for a few minutes. There's a level 5 Pokemon Go raid about ready to pop at South Park, so I might take back off to go meet those guys over there. We'll see. So I wasn't disappointed at all. There's a lot of new Easter stuff out. And I'm particularly liking this bunny. She may just have to come home. Well, I had a good time at Guardian Angel. Surely there's got to be more Easter stuff to put out. I mean, there was more stuff and that was good, but there wasn't tons of stuff. So hopefully maybe when me and Michelle go Tuesday, there'll be even more. I got a large vase and that Easter bunny and a couple of t-shirts. So Rayquaza popped at South Park and there's a group meeting in 5 minutes and that's really convenient for me. So I'm gonna pop in and try to pick up Ray because I really want him. All right, I'm so excited. I got Ray. See, added to my Pokedex. Yay! Johnny also caught him, so now he has 2.
All right.
That's way cool. Yep. One of the Raiders had a Ford C-Max today. Gets about 44 miles per gallon. It's a pretty nice car. Wow, I traveled a whole 6.8 miles today. So the boys are home, and of course they're very excited to see what Miss Michelle brought for them. So Johnny, what was your favorite thing? Another inflatable for the inflatable kid. You sure are lucky.
Thank you, Miss Michelle.
Johnny's already wishing on Christmas and Halloween so he can put up his new inflatables. Pretty cool. The 2 mice on the left and this cute little chick bunny rabbit. They were in my bag. Michelle knows I love Annalie. With these Corel plates with pansies on them. So I'm pretty much done out here now. I don't promise not to add anything else though.